Tonight on CBC Vancouver News. The search for big Boxing Day bargains.
I got a good deal today.
You know, some of the highlighted deals are like $10 off on a $500 TV, so it's not really pushing the envelope that much.
I've been working up to this. I've been waiting a long time to get something like this.
But those discounts might be getting harder to come by. Also,
outrageously priced. That you asked about the foreign buyers tax, and I don't think that's making an iota of difference.
it's almost 2 years since the ban on foreign home buyers. Some say it hasn't done much for housing prices. And
the boys are buzzing.
Yes, sir. We're number one in the league, baby.
high spirits for hockey. Excitement grows for the Vancouver Canucks at a top spot.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good evening, I'm Baneet Braich. Dan is away tonight. Well, it's Boxing Day and big crowds in Metro Vancouver are looking for the perfect bargain. More Canadians have been deal hunting this holiday season than in recent years, according to survey data. And analysts say tough economic times mean many buyers have smaller budgets. And as John Hernandez reports, retailers are also feeling the squeeze.
The day after Christmas, it's no secret why these stores are packed.
I guess the deals.
Here at Best Buy in Vancouver, the foot traffic is as dense as it's been in years.
Boxing Day this year is a little bit busier than last year so far out of the gates, and comparative to the past, I would say it's getting equal.
Many of these bargain hunters patiently waiting weeks, if not months, for discounts on items like phones, TVs, and appliances.
I think we held off on things, and knowing that Boxing Day was coming up, it was just a good idea.
I've been waiting like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I was like, oh, I might have a little bit of a budget. I could probably afford it, but only if I can get a good deal.
Shopping habits that are far from unique this year.
I think what we're seeing this season is an uptick in bargain hunters that normally in the past might have not wanted to put the effort in.
A survey from the Angus Reid Group found 93% of Canadians are being more or somewhat more careful with their expenses this year.
That ties in with a lot of what we're hearing, with the rising interest rates combined with a somewhat recessionary environment and a bit of a gloomy outlook for some households on their finances.
Things have just been really expensive in total, just with inflation. So my partner and I decided to come out here and buy something that's more, hopefully, affordable.
Tough times that also extend to businesses worried about their own bottom line.
I've seen them really be disciplined through a lot of the season on not offering, big, wide discounts.
Safe to say, some shoppers have noticed.
Some of the highlighted deals are like $10 off on a $500 TV, so it's not really pushing the envelope that much.
There was the hope, but we were walking around earlier, we're like, has Canada forgotten Boxing Day?
But with a little luck and patience, there's still savings to be had.
I think the original price on this is probably $700 or $800 higher. I have to say it was worth waiting on this one.
Big savings during pricey times. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now to Vancouver Island, where rockfall and downed trees close a section of the highway between Parksville and Port Alberni. Highway 4 was closed for 16 hours, and Drive BC said there was no detour, so those in Port Alberni, Tofino, and Ucluelet were not able to leave from the highway. A geotechnical assessment was finished early this morning, but debris cleanup kept the highway closed until 2:30 this afternoon. And Vancouver Island was also hit hard with power outages from last night's storm. BC Hydro says a helicopter patrol showed fallen trees had caused lots of damage to power lines. Crews are working on repairs and say most customers will have power back by the end of the day today, but customers in Zabalos area will remain without power overnight. A search is underway for a 34-year-old truck driver from Vancouver who hasn't been seen since he stopped in Winnipeg last week. Ali Mahmoud says no one has seen or heard from his son, Farah Ali Mahmoud, since he delivered his load on Friday evening.
And the last time he spoke to his wife was around 3 o'clock, 3:30 Vancouver time. Since then, there's no communication.
Winnipeg police say Mahmoud was reported missing on Saturday, and they are investigating. And pretty soon, New Year's Day will mark the first anniversary of Canada's 2-year ban on foreign home buyers. The plan was supposed to help make housing here more affordable, but experts say that hasn't happened. As Yvette Brand reports, some say it might have made some things even more expensive.
2-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
A year of house hunting for this couple is ending in frustration.
Outrageously priced. That you asked about the foreign buyers tax, and I don't think that's making an iota of difference.
All government levels have been trying to cool real estate prices. So far, Wallace sees no buildings she can afford.
All massive buildings that are going to, sit empty? I doubt it. They're going to sell to foreign investors who can afford to pay the tax.
Speculation taxes were introduced and expanded in BC and Ontario over the past 5 years. In January, they took it one step further with a foreign buyers ban to try to rein in prices.
Forcing
realtors say all this did little to drop prices.
For the majority of home buyers, the foreign buyers tax didn't do much.
The ban aimed at non-Canadians only affected about 2% of buyers.
There are so many exemptions to the foreign buyer ban. It really didn't make any difference at all.
CBC reached out to housing ministers at every level. All refused to comment or to explain how the ban made this housing more affordable.
Housing experts say Canada needs to look to places where housing has been made affordable, like Singapore. Singapore has strict bans on speculation buying and much higher taxes that pay for a whole lot of public housing.
The big exception is Singapore. They want to control the investor play in the housing market so that there is opportunity for local buyers to be successful.
This economist also sees hope in Canadian housing policy shifts around density.
Having basically one-story average on a square foot of land when land is as precious as in Vancouver makes no sense. Governments are starting to see that.
This used to be enclosed space.
A bit of hope, but no quick fix.
Which is frustrating for buyers, waiting for the price to come down to something, semi-realistic.
I'll give you a sheet, yeah.
So this couple's house hunt continues. Yvette Brand, CBC News, Vancouver.
And Russ LeCate joins us now with a first look at the weather. Russ, there was the Christmas storm and blue skies today here in downtown Vancouver. What are we expecting for the weather?
Well, it'd be nice to get another blue sky day. I should block out what I've got up here. But Baneet, I think we're looking at another storm sort of closing in. And this one's coming from the eastern Pacific, a slightly different path. It's going to drive farther to the north. I don't know that it makes a direct impact on the lower mainland at all, but a number of our neighboring communities are going to have some rough weather over the next 24 hours. That system leaving the region, the next one's coming towards us. I suspect that on the outer coast, we're going to have some weather warnings to deal with. High surf advisory for the west coast of the island, also high tides around Victoria. We've got a wind warning for the central coast, and for the Haida Gwaii region, a rainfall warning. Lots going on really in the next couple of days. We'll have our full forecast for you a little later in the show.
All right, thanks, Russ. And the Conservative Party of BC appears to have captured more attention from voters this year after leaving the official opposition party, BC United, in February. Necheko Lake's MLA John Rustad joined the Conservatives and became the party's leader just a month later. And he spoke with CBC's Stephen Quinn on the early edition about the progress of his party this year, its policies, and projections for 2024.
You are willing to enter discussions with BC United to take down the NDP in the next election. What would that look like?
Well, that's a good question. And what we're trying to do as the Conservative Party of British Columbia is just to be, reasonable, rational. We want to be able to provide good options for people in this province. It's not about being conservative or liberal or NDP or Green. It's just about standing for what's right, just to be straight up with people. And so there may be some opportunities to be able to talk about what we can do together, and I'm not going to say, no, that isn't possible. So we'll have some discussions, I suspect, although nobody from the United Party has reached out. So we'll see how that plays out. But there's lots of people out there that are very concerned. There's a tremendous amount of people, of course, that are very, very concerned about what's going on in this province with the NDP government and the approach that's there. And they want us to be able to look at all options. So we'll explore that and see how it goes.
And parental rights have been a big topic this year across party lines, especially when it comes to the sexual orientation and gender identity program. Rusted said the parents he has spoken to are concerned.
If it's creating divisions, if it's creating people that are feeling unsafe in our schools, then why are we doing this? We should be removing it. We should be looking at making sure that we've got solid anti-bullying programs in place, that we've got support in place in our schools, but that we have a school that is refocused on academics.
People who are in favor of that resource would argue exactly what you're arguing right now, is that those kids who are different, maybe questioning their gender identity, are the ones that are getting bullied. They're the ones that need the help.
There should never be a case where students feel unsafe in our schools, and regardless of where they come from, regardless of where they are and who they are. We need to make sure we have solid anti-bullying programs in place.
And the BC Conservative Party has promised to scrap the provincial carbon tax, low carbon fuel requirements, and other climate-related programs if it came to power. It's also a goal raising questions about how the party plans to address climate change.
CO2 plays a role in warming. There's no question there. However, it's only one of 100 or more factors that contribute to our overall climate and a changing climate. So the question becomes, what do we do about it? And when you look at it, what this government believes, what David Eby actually believes, is that taxing people into poverty can change the weather. Young people today, they're working 1-2 jobs. They're struggling to put food on the table, to pay their rent. They can't put anything away for the future. They can't even have a hope to own a home. And when you look at the carbon tax...
And that's the fault of the carbon tax?
When you look at the carbon tax, it's taking $2.8 billion out of people's pockets. By 2030, 2031, it will have taken $6,772 out of every man, woman, child's pocket in this province.
And that was BC Conservative leader John Rustad. We'll have more year-end recaps from the leaders of other provincial parties later this week. And many in BC's South Asian community are mourning the death of a new Westminster physician. Dr. Gurdev Singh Gill was Canada's first ever medical doctor of Indian descent. And as Janella Hamilton reports, the 92-year-old made a big impact on the lives of many and leaves behind a profound legacy.
Dr. Gurdev Singh Gill is being described as a pioneer, missionary, and all-around selfless human being, dedicating much of his 40-year medical career to helping newcomers.
His medical practice was more than a medical practice. It was a community hall where new immigrants came for guidance and advice.
As the president of Vancouver's Khalsa Dewan Society, he was instrumental in the building of a new Gurdwara in South Vancouver, at a time when few existed for local Sikhs.
Service of the community, that's what in toe to top he was devoted to.
81-year-old Rajinder Pander met Gill at a conference in 1977. After complaining about a headache, Gill set up tests for him right away. Pander credits the doctor for saving his life.
Having 2 big surgeries on my head and a shunt in my body, I have no words to express my gratitude and thanks. He looked after me very much since then, till his last day.
Gill was Canada's first medical doctor of Indian descent and the first Indian student to graduate from UBC's medical school. He is being remembered by BC's South Asian community as a trailblazer in medicine, activism, and philanthropy. In its inaugural year, he was inducted into the Order of BC, and in 2012, he received the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal.
My grandfather lived a very selfless life, and he was dedicated to uplifting others and supporting others, not just in Canada, but also in India.
After Gill retired, he continued the work of helping others. His Indo-Canadian Friendship Society of BC has helped improve more than 25 villages in India.
Seeing what the quality of life was here compared to some of the villages where there wasn't clean water, there wasn't proper sanitation. He thought that he could make a difference.
His grandson says he remains in awe of the legacy his grandfather has left behind and hopes it will continue to inspire people across the country to serve the community. A celebration of life is planned for May. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
It's a good year to be a Canucks fan. The Vancouver team is heading into the new year at the top of the league. We spoke to fans about how they're feeling. And thanks for joining our commercial-free live stream. Gold has long been seen as a stable investment, and now at a time of global uncertainty, it's becoming so popular that big box stores such as Costco have jumped on the bandwagon. Now the question is gold a good place to put your money? Well, CBC's Anis Hidari asked the investors and advisors to weigh in.
Inside warehouse stores like this, most people are buying things like toilet paper. But the latest treasure at retailers might be golden.
Anything else, yeah, you'd expect to see it in Costco, but not really gold. So that was kind of surprising.
For this investor, all that glitters is golden coins, not bars. But he's happy to see retailers sell gold for more than just jewelry. And he has cultural reasons for investing too.
Especially after the revolution with Islamic Revolution in 1979, we had a lot of inflation, and the currency, Iranian currency, wouldn't hold its value, but gold would.
Persian families aren't the only ones who feel this way, with retailers offering more and more non-decorative options.
So anytime there's geopolitical, international instability, people are looking for a safe haven or a flight to safety and security, and essentially that's what gold does.
Gold has hit higher prices in recent months, with some experts speculating that could be out of fear.
They're trying to own gold if they believe that there's going to be some type of debasement of the U.S. currency. And to be quite honest, they believe that the world's probably going to go to hell in a handbasket.
But gold may not do the trick there.
But if you own gold in that type of situation and someone comes to your house and tries to rob you, you could tell them, like, hey, no, I'm safe. I own gold. But what are they going to probably do? They're probably going to rob you and take your gold.
As for financial safety, gold may not actually protect investors. It has often dropped compared to the U.S. or Canadian dollars. But Irfan Hashampour, he won't be changing tactics.
Stocks, you never know. If a company goes bankrupt, you lose all your money.
And other consumers might agree. Costco has said their gold bars often sell out. Anis Hidari, CBC News, Calgary.
And after a 7-4 win over the San Jose Sharks on Saturday, the Vancouver Canucks hit the top spot in the NHL. The last time the Canucks ranked this high in the league, this late into the season, was in 2011. Our Maurice Katz spoke to fans about what it means to be dominating over 10 years later.
The Vancouver Canucks are first place in the NHL, and they haven't been at the top this late in the season since 2011, when fans were still watching the centenary.
Their captain, Henrik Sedin with Daniel. Daniel Sedin on the backhand, drops it back. Bieksa shoots and scores! Daniel Sedin quickly in front. Henrik back to Daniel, scores!
Well, let's hear what the fans have to say.
I love it. I love it. First place, baby.
The boys are buzzing.
Yes, sir. We're #1 in the league, baby.
Yeah, the excitement around the city. Also, I don't know, the players just look like they're giving it all this year.
What reminds you about this team and the 2011 team when we were #1 in the league as well? What are some of the similarities?
I say the amount of superstars we have, like Miller, Pettersson, Besser. Reminds me of like the Sedins, Kessler. But I was like 6 years old. It's crazy.
I think Canucks have gotten kind of lucky so far.
Haven't been first this late in the season since 2011. Do you remember anything about that season? 2011?
I remember they lost to the Bruins. That's all I remember from that.
How's San Jose doing this season so far?
We're not on an 11-game losing streak, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, they're doing really good this year.
So they're doing so good, they're first place in the NHL. Last time they did that was?
I'm not sure.
2011.
Oh, that was when you were born.
That was when you were born? So you don't remember anything about that season, hey?
Nope.
So this is exciting for you?
Yeah.
This is their first hockey game.
Wow.
We live in Quesnel. We're 8 hours north, so we just drove down last night.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The kids are excited. That's what they got for Christmas, Canucks.
Do you guys have your favorite player?
Yeah, Quinn Hughes.
Nice.
Brock Besser.
Nice. Mom?
Mine was old school. I like Luongo, but that was a while ago.
What about this year's team?
Pedersen.
Oh, they're doing great. It's just exciting because it's been such a long time.
There's something different about them this year, so we're really happy and hopeful.
What do you like about the Canucks?
I have no idea.
That's okay. That's okay. What about you?
Me too, I have no idea.
It's their first time.
Yeah, the first game.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
That's their first time.
First, are you excited?
Yeah.
You excited?
Yes.
The Canucks haven't made the playoffs since 2020, but things are looking good and fans are definitely excited. Maurice Katz, CBC News, Vancouver.
And on the international level, Canada opened the World Junior Hockey Championship in Sweden today and won with a 5-2 victory over Finland. Nate Danielson led the team with a goal and an assist, while the goaltender, Rousseau, made 24 saves, including one that brought Canadian fans to their feet.
Yeager had that taken away. Hogan looks back in front. Great chance. Played across. Oh, what a stop by Rousseau. Matisse Rousseau. What a stop. Oh, my gosh.
And thousands of Canadians have gone to Sweden for the annual tournament. It gives a sneak peek at some future NHL stars. Sweden is hosting the event for the 7th time. And Canada, the 2-time defending champion, takes on Latvia tomorrow. And many Canadian universities are embracing plant-based and vegetarian menus. After the break, experts tell us why it's a smart move for both students and the planet.
For Adrienne Mahoney, this song is close to her heart, a heart that once belonged to someone else. She created the music in honor of her donor and the donor's family.
Gratitude and words, I found myself at a loss. I couldn't properly articulate in a letter format a thank you. And so that's where I turned to what I knew best, and it was music. And I said, if I can't use words to describe the magnitude of my gratitude and my family's gratitude, maybe music can be the vehicle or the way to express the unexpressible, if you will.
6 years ago, Mahoney suffered heart failure and was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease. In 2019, she received a heart transplant. After the surgery, she began to compose a song. But then a cancer diagnosis and multiple surgeries made her worry she wouldn't live to see the song's completion.
The hardest times for me, it became the beacon to keep pushing towards, because half of it wasn't recorded yet. And as I experienced more heart problems and cancer and other issues, finishing the next track became the focus.
And her band promised they'd continue on with the project if she died.
That's always been the agreement between the musicians, that it would go forward with or without her, but thank goodness it's with her this time.
The song is normally played with a 10-piece band and includes sounds from the medical device that kept her alive.
And she wanted a bunch of that messy noise and that kind of, confusing, sometimes beautiful, sometimes disgusting, sounds all in there to not leave out any of the experience that she went through.
But Mahoney says the most special part of this song is its ending, when you hear her donor's heart beating.
I wanted to give them what I thought was the biggest gift I could give a musician, and it's to share their loved one's voice one last time. And for me, I see that heartbeat that ends the track as the most important voice on this entire thing. And so if it gives one more chance, one more acknowledgement of the sacredness of this and the sanctity of it, that was always my intention.
Mahoney has written a letter to the family of the donor and knows she may never know their names or meet them, but hopes somehow they'll hear her song. Tariq Reed, CBC News, Regina.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
Enjoy groundbreaking contemporary works of theatre, dance, music, and multimedia at the annual Push International Performing Arts Festival, January 19th to February 4th. For the festival program and tickets, visit pushfestival.ca. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC Vancouver's e-newsletter at cbc.ca/Vancouver inbox and keep connected with us.
And meteorologist Russ LeCate joins us now with another look at the weather. Russ, it hasn't really felt like a snowy winter for many in BC. Is it just us? What are we looking at? Snow, sunshine?
Yeah, it's pretty mild across much of the country, Baneet, and we'll take a look at your national weather picture right now. With some drizzle, I should mention. You know, some of our areas around southern Ontario, southern Quebec have had sort of heavy cloud cover, drizzle, sort of soupy conditions, but generally just a little bit on the wet side for southern Ontario. One strip of freezing drizzle through parts of central Ontario. That's one of our only weather hazards from coast to coast across this beautiful country. It'll be clearing across Quebec tomorrow. Huge high building over the prairies. Lots of sun in your forecast tomorrow as well. And a developing storm along the west coast will impact our forecast, but it's really more of a glancing blow. It's the outer coastal areas that get the worst of that. So your across Canada forecast tomorrow, temperatures moderating onto the high side of 0 up to 4 degrees in Ottawa, up near 8 in Toronto. A drizzly, soupy mess across southern Ontario tomorrow. Sun comes out for Winnipeg, all across Saskatchewan, into Alberta as well. A little bit stormier around these parts, maybe on the outer coast. Of course, for Metro Vancouver today, it was nice and mild, and we saw a high temperature up to 13 degrees in Pitt Meadows and White Rock. We have some double-digit temperatures in the rest of your forecast as well. Looking over the next 24 hours, some light rain begins to spread in the middle of the night. This graphic makes it look like it's really wet tomorrow, but actually it's only between a trace and about 2 to 5 millimeters of rainfall, not that much. Your long-range forecast, it is very mild. We have some light rain for a couple of days, a break in the action on Friday by the looks of it.
All right, thanks so much, Russ.
You're welcome.
And over the past 5 years, chefs and food researchers at UBC have been offering more plant-based and vegetarian food. It's a way to meet demand as more students adjust their diets and create more sustainable practices. As CBC's Deanna Semenek-Johnson tells us, UBC is one of many Canadian universities making the shift.
At Canada's universities, new knowledge is no longer just the domain of students. Chefs at campus cafeterias are learning to cook up a variety of plant-based meals. At the University of British Columbia dining halls, they have reached their goal of hitting 55% of the menu, with hopes to surpass that and hit 80%.
UBC is a place of learning, so what a better place for us to be able to play in this field and educate our students and our guests about the importance of eating plant-based.
One impetus for the move is scientific reporting that animal farming is a major contributor to climate change.
Anything that does encourage a shift towards plant-based foods, such as making them more accessible in universities or educating about the benefits of plant-based foods, those are all things that can help shift us towards that low animal consumption pathway.
But student demand is another driver. That's in part why Western University plans to start the new year with plant-based meals comprising 40% of residents' menus.
This generation coming through, they expect us to be good custodians in terms of the planet and climate change and what's our responsibility.
Western is retraining chefs at 7 residence dining halls to make those meals tasty and nutritionally balanced. This executive chef says today's students know what they like and are unafraid to let him know what they think.
We present things to the students, and if the uptake's not there or
Something they don't like?
that's a quick, we quickly realize that, and we'll reel that one in and try something new.
Universities know there may be hiccups along the way. With produce going up in price, they'll be keeping an eye on meal plan costs. But for this student, the residence canteen is getting top marks.
I think overall the quality is great. It's nice, it's home cooked. It definitely feels like it's like warm, fresh.
So it's a plant-based recipe.
Small steps as places of higher learning try to reduce their carbon footprint. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, London, Ontario.
And that is your evening news for today. Thank you so much for joining us. You can always find our news program online at cbc.ca/bc. Good night.